Hi, I'm Jered Kenna, and you're watching Money in Tech. Today we've got Adam Draper, founder of Boost VC, a Bitcoin-focused accelerator. Adam, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jered. Cool. Yeah, this is really fun. Yeah, we're a Bitcoin-focused accelerator. We have accelerated 9 Bitcoin companies in the last 12 months, I guess 8 months, since we announced that we were going to be focused on Bitcoin. I can definitely plug every single one of them on the show. I'd be happy to.
So you were one of the first VCs to actually try to put a fund together for Bitcoin, correct?
Yeah. So here, I'll just go back through sort of my experience with Bitcoin in general. I was an early investor in Coinbase, and so when Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. When I met up with him, I actually knew nothing about Bitcoin. Right. So it was about 14 months ago. He had to pitch me the most difficult pitch ever. He had to pitch me what Bitcoin was,
right,
and then also what his business did in reference to Bitcoin. And so after that, I was really excited about 2 things about Bitcoin. One was I think that if the financial crisis of 2008 proved anything, is that we're a global economy, but there's no global currency that actually tied us together. And I felt that without really too much without trying too hard, that Bitcoin ended up being a global currency pretty quickly. And then the other thing that I really loved was that there had already been a crash of Bitcoin. So in 2011, it had gone from 30 to 0, which you're pretty familiar with, unfortunately. And but when I talked to Brian, the price was already at $15, $17 back. And so I got really excited that the community around Bitcoin was so passionate that they willed it back into existence.
Right.
And so that is what I got really, really excited about with Bitcoin. I didn't realize how much of my life up to this point now would have been defined by Bitcoin, which is fantastic. It was just like, I decided pretty quickly to back Brian, because Brian, to me, was a very passionate entrepreneur, and I really wanted to back him. And then as I didn't realize how deep the rabbit hole was going to go, really, as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Like, as you peel back the layers of what Bitcoin is, it wasn't only about currency, it wasn't only about the protocol, it was a lot about the community. And we ended up at Boost wanting to support that.
So Boost is older than, so Boost was originally just a VC fund that got into Bitcoin. You didn't launch it to invest in Bitcoin companies?
No, we didn't. We originally launched it to accelerate any type of company, any type of really tech company, although we've accelerated a wine company, so we can't say only tech, who are really passionate founders, really passionate entrepreneurs. So we've had 3 sessions at this point, and 41 companies have actually graduated from Boost. 9 of those are Bitcoin, so a huge percentage of what we've done were Bitcoin companies. Our goal over the next 3 years is actually to launch 100 new Bitcoin companies. So ambitious project, but I feel that we've gained a lot of momentum by being the first to really actively support Bitcoin. And I think that it's going to be a really great ride. I think we're just scratching the surface of the potential of what really the protocol could be.
For sure. So are you looking to fund exclusively Bitcoin companies or more digital currency companies? Like if you get an awesome Dogecoin exchange.
I think digital currencies are here to stay.
Right.
I think that's really what I've learned over the last 12 months is that, the stats were really staggering to me that like the US is already 93% digital, and this format for a digital currency made more sense than what, typing a new number on a calculator basically. And so I'm not against whatever the next version of what Bitcoin is or is going to be. Mastercoin is getting some steam. Dogecoin is getting a ridiculous amount of steam. Did you hear that like a majority of Dogecoin users are women and high school kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a demographic that Bitcoin has not been able to breach, and so I found that really exciting.
No, it's the Farmville of digital currencies.
Yeah, it's sort of this more fun thing. It's like, here, I'll tip you some Dogecoin. I think that's fascinating.
I think it's 60,000 Reddit users on in the Dogecoin subreddit and 100,000 in the Bitcoin subreddit.
Yeah, and it actually draws a couple parallels to what Bitcoin because it's starting out as a toy. It's starting as a fun thing, and then that's how things gain in popularity. So I thought it was a joke for a while, and now I had a very long conversation with someone recently, and the stats made me think differently.
Yeah.
That I might be wrong. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong.
Are you long on Dogecoin?
I'm not necessarily long, but Bitcoin still has not been able to breach those two demographics.
Right.
And so I find it fascinating that Dogecoin was able to. I still think people are thinking of it as more a point system than anything else, but I'm.
That's all about the network effect.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to make any drastic claims, but yeah. Do I think Dogecoin is going to be here in 5 years? God, I hope so.
We might see a Doge base and a Doge Pay.
Well, those are already coming out. Like Cryptsy is taking the market by storm on Doge. My team bought some Dogecoin. We decided individually, separately, to buy some Dogecoin.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So back to Boost. Like, what separates Boost from other VCs? And I mean, obviously you're running it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, what really separates it from? Would you consider yourselves an incubator, accelerator?
So yeah, as far as venture, we consider ourselves more of a accelerator than a venture capitalist, just because we do have a regimented program that the companies go through. So when you get accepted, so companies apply to us. And when you get accepted into Boost, we give you a little money. We invest between $10,000 and $15,000 to get you up and running. We give you housing, so that's a huge differentiator. It actually creates this very great, tight community around the entrepreneurs. And we give you office space for a 3-month period of time. And so the two things we promise throughout the program is that we will extend people's network and knowledge, which are two things that don't only apply to Bitcoin, it also applies to any type of company.
For sure.
And Bitcoin, but our expertise in Bitcoin has been very powerful for the Bitcoin companies. I would say as far as accelerators go, we do have a very powerful strength there just because we already have 9 companies that we've accelerated who are all very passionate and in the Bitcoin ecosystem. But we promise network and knowledge. We bring in mentors. We have fantastic mentors to choose from. And we bring in great speakers.
Very cool. Yeah. So are these all pretty early stage?
Super early. Normally they're not always, but they're normally first-time entrepreneurs. We add a lot of value to a first-time entrepreneur. And because of we provide housing and we actually require the companies to be housed for the 3-month program, and because of that, we skew a little younger in general, because a lot of older entrepreneurs aren't willing to, they have families and
for sure
they want to be able to take care of those people. But it's really awesome. That's
awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going down there checking it out sometime.
Yeah, dude, definitely invited.
So you take a little bit of equity, I'm assuming. Do you have a flat rate that you?
So we invest between $10,000 and $15,000 for 6% of the company.
Okay.
And our entire program is based around trying to provide that 6% of value to a company.
Gotcha.
And so we really try to position ourselves as a partner or a early founder than an investor. And so we really hustle for our companies. I'm willing to connect anyone in the network to basically anyone in my network. And then as quality companies go through the program, the network only builds on itself. So it's after you've been around for a little while, it's a very powerful mechanism.
Oh, for sure. So, for a while, exchanges were really hot. Everybody wanted to start an exchange.
Oh, yeah.
Wallets.
I still see exchanges. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Payment processors.
Oh yeah.
So what's next? What's the next big space in Bitcoin?
Actually, it's a really great question. So this is what we had to go through when we were thinking about what companies we were going to be accepting into Boost for the accelerator. And so we were thinking of mining, exchanges, payments processors. We were thinking of those things as must-haves in order to have any part of the infrastructure work at all. And then we were thinking, okay, so what's second generation? If adoption happens because of these 3 things, what are the next generation things that this tool can be used for that is better than the current currency system? And so we decided at Boost on microtransactions, so being able to actually send a small amount of money to lots of different people.
Right.
It actually creates, we have a company called Bitwall that actually, it changes the way that publishers can monetize online. And I think as adoption increases, it's going to be a new way in which you consume content.
You just got the Chicago Sun-Times, right?
Yeah,
they
just got the Chicago Sun-Times. It was really exciting.
Congratulations.
That was a huge, and they released some really valuable data. It was really exciting.
And I guess the idea is it's similar to, let's see, the Wall Street Journal's got a paywall, right? So it's a similar concept, except that's incredibly annoying because I don't want to plug in all my credit card information.
Yeah.
I could take my phone with some Bitcoins on it, boop, there we go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
which is really exciting. So they ran a donation campaign or a tweet campaign for the content. And it was, you could either do this or that, and it led to, every time it was tweeted, it led to 30 more tweets, which is super valuable for any publisher.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's, they released a bunch of great data on that one campaign. I think it will lead to more campaigns across the country, which is cool.
So is investment going to diversify? Are we going to see, investors investing in these unique new Bitcoin startups, or are they going to just kind of follow the herd like they always do, and we're going to see investment in 15 more Coinbases because they've raised the most money?
So I see investors really looking hard at everything in the market. I think because a couple big bets have been taken, so Coinbase raising $25 million from Andreessen, Union Square's in that, a bunch of other great people are in that. I think that there will be other venture firms who are thinking, I want, if they missed it, we want to be able to take another payments processor, another exchange, another one of those. But there are investors who are looking at Bitcoin as the next internet. And they're thinking that opportunities that have not necessarily been invented yet, like there's certain infrastructure still needing to be put into place in order to even creatively dream of whatever the next
And it's
step
pretty
is.
obvious, if the entire thing's going to succeed, everything has to happen. It's just who's going to, execute it.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
And what I've been absorbed with, and I can't iterate this enough, is that when we announced Boost as being Bitcoin focused, I mean, you were one of the first people actually to reach out to me. Was that the community was so supportive.
Oh, yeah.
And so it sort of has that like pirate mentality where it's sort of like they're not necessarily, not libertarian, it's sort of like this us against the world building this thing that the world needs to exist, not wants, like needs to exist.
Oh, it's an uphill battle too. I mean, if you look back a few years ago, I wouldn't have thought this was possible. I mean, you're talking about trying to change the most entrenched system on the planet.
Completely.
So.
Oh, no, it's really, so I've been, thankful that I've been able to meet so many great people who are also as passionate as I in helping out the ecosystem. So to answer your investor question, I think that there are leaders and their followers, but a lot of VCs specifically are trying to figure out where they should be making their bet because they know they need to now. I think Andreessen and Union Square both made a statement with what they did, and so other venture firms will think, well, this is an industry now. Let's see where we put our money.
So Adam, how did you first get into Bitcoin? What you said Brian from Coinbase pitched you on it.
Yeah, okay, so Brian from Coinbase pitched me on it. And that was actually my first foray into Bitcoin. So it's awesome that my first foray into Bitcoin was one of the larger companies pitching me on it.
Well, it wasn't larger at the time, right?
No, it wasn't larger at the time. It was Brian.
Yeah, he pitched you probably, around February last year, give or take?
Oh,
Maybe
it was, no, it was August, I think.
Oh, last year? Oh, okay, that was a little,
Not last year, too, a year, 15 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was a while ago. I think September I made the investment, so it was 2012.
Wow. Good call.
So yeah,
it's working out good so far.
He was impressive, I must say. But so Brian comes to me and he's explaining this Bitcoin thing, and I was like, God, you're crazy. That's insane that you're banking your entire company on this thing. But you're really impressive. Find a co-founder. Giving him random advice that I tried to give. Found a fantastic co-founder, Fred. But once I learned about Bitcoin, it was one of those things where you start seeing it everywhere. When you read an article, all of a sudden like Bitcoin pops out when you're reading an article, or conversations. And then actually my partner, Brayton Williams' brother, I sort of define him as a hippie hacker, so very libertarian, open source, everything. And he's a great guy, and he sort of pitched us the whole entire infrastructure of how Bitcoin works and why he believes so deeply in it. And it was a passionate enough thing that we at Boost got really excited about it. And we were at the time thinking about what our next session was going to be about, like what types of companies we wanted to be looking at. And so we ended up, that was the deciding factor in just really picking Bitcoin as our focus. But at the time when we picked, there were probably only like 5 Bitcoin companies that existed that anyone could point at.
Yeah, we're looking at Coinbase, BitPay, Mt. Gox, which, let's talk about Mt. Gox for a minute.
Okay.
I think Mt. Gox has probably been hacked about 5, or not, I mean, not hacked, but had some serious issues probably at least 5 times.
Yeah, completely.
You know, I remember back in 2011, they went down for like 2 weeks or something, you know?
Yeah.
And that was back when they had, you know, 80% market share.
Yeah.
You know, and then I had the other 20%.
I think what happened was they were first movers.
Right.
In an industry that was going to innovate very quickly.
So you're saying they're going to be the MySpace of Bitcoin? Is that what you're saying?
That is something along the lines. Like, I think a lot of the mass market is still looking. Every time something bad happens with Mt. Gox, people are still watching that, and I feel that the general Bitcoin user base is looking at Bitstamp, is looking at Coinbase, is looking at other exchanges right now. So I'm not saying that they can't turn it around. Right. But what I am saying is right now it is not. In my head, I rarely look at the number on Mt. Gox. Right. And when people like announce that Bitcoin's at $200, when I was just looking at $650, I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I look at any other market and it's stabilized.
No, for sure.
Not stabilized. Bitcoin, it's tough to argue stabilization. Right. It's like all over the map. But
yeah, I think they have a lot of attention. I mean, and you see like for a while they were trading $200 above Bitstamp. Yeah. And then they're trading $200 below Bitstamp. Oh, completely. And not just Bitstamp and all the other
exchanges. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that everyone was sort of using them as a touchstone to figure out what the price of Bitcoin was. And then they restricted withdrawals on dollars, and then they restricted withdrawals on Bitcoin.
The dollars I can understand, it's a manual process, but Bitcoin,
that's literally negates the purpose of Bitcoin. Like, it's supposed to be a free moving thing. Right. Yeah. So I think that they are making. I mean, I'm sure they're just trying to make their company work, but it is reflecting on the Bitcoin ecosystem rather poorly right now.
Right. One quote that I've heard quite a bit is incompetent, not malicious.
That might be an interesting way of looking at it.
So we won't trash them too bad.
No. But I mean, what Mt. Gox has done for Bitcoin, they were the first movers, so they were a huge part of the awareness. It's just that they got innovated over and were not technically ready for what happened. Right.
And Mt. Gox was founded by Jered McCaleb, who also founded Ripple. And then before that, he had done eDonkey 2000, which was file sharing software. It was kind of between Napster and BitTorrent. So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and I think Morpheus and Nutella, I think all those ran on eDonkey. I have to check.
Awesome.
So he was
a master of peer-to-peer.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, no, he's a genius. So he's launching a new product, some super secret
thing that he wants people. Yeah, I saw the super secret page. I didn't know that he
didn't get too much.
I didn't know he was the master of P2P though. That's awesome. I think P2P is the single greatest technology achievement in the last 15 years. Oh yeah. Napster started it, and then there's Skype. There's everything. Every technology we use today is basically based off of P2P in some way.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I think it's probably the most powerful tool that anyone's built.
For sure. So let's talk about altcoins. Ripple. We talked about Dogecoin. Yeah. Can't talk enough about Dogecoin.
You can't. No, there's a
hands down cutest altcoin.
There's a cute dog on the branding. I think a piece of a lot of alternative currencies are basically taking Bitcoin and then
Litecoin. Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking Bitcoin and creating protocols that are based off of it, or they're like changing like a little thing. And so that, Litecoin, for instance, 2-minute transaction time versus 8-minute.
Different proof of work, uses script instead.
Yeah. And which, there are better things for different things. But I think the one that's going to take Bitcoin out would not necessarily be a copy of Bitcoin. in some way.
Unless there's a really cute dog on it.
Cute dog. Sorry,
right.
I didn't really think about
Right.
it.
It's a secret weapon.
Saying that. Yes. So the secret weapon is better branding.
Yeah.
It turns out if you brand an alternative currency with the puppy, everyone wants to use it as a toy.
Well, that's the thing that gets me is I was always pitching Bitcoin over these years, and everybody was like, why should I use it?
Yeah.
But nobody asked why they should use Doge. You know, not a single person's asked me, why should I use Doge? It's cute.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Bitcoin paved the way a little bit, but yes,
Right.
it's cute.
Yeah.
It just did take 50,000 Dogecoin. Yeah.
So I think you got a good point. Like, I agree. Like, you know, Litecoin may be superior to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin has such a network effect. No. And why are you going to adopt it if it's not that superior?
No,
now
Litecoin's fantastic.
Ripple, on the other hand, brings a lot of things that Bitcoin doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe they can run in parallel. Maybe they can run in parallel for a while, and then one, you know, edges the other one out.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
If it had a dog, it would be an obvious winner.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk with Chris. You know, he was on the show a while ago. I'm gonna tell him he needs a cute dog.
Well, rebranding of Ripple. It's the Ripple cute. You know, maybe not a dog, maybe a raccoon or
cats
some
are big
other
on the
cute
internet.
thing. Yeah, cats are big on the internet.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Someone's got to be releasing a cat
coin.
Cat
Shit.
coin. Yeah, someone's going to watch this and then say,
no, because we're going to have already made it. By the
I
time
actually,
this airs.
I wanted to release a boost coin just as a fun thing, not necessarily creating a ecosystem, but pay people in my office with boost coin for a little while. That'd be fun.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. But the alternative currency thing, like what are your thoughts among alternative currencies in general?
I think a lot of them just kind of disperse they make it confusing. You know, I think if you can bring something that's genuinely, you know, better, then do it. But I think most of them don't really bring anything worth restarting for. If this was the very beginning and Bitcoin was sitting next to Litecoin, I would probably say use Litecoin. But when there's already millions and millions of people using Bitcoin, there's companies like BitPay and Coinbase and all this stuff built on top of it. Yeah. To switch over to Litecoin for some slight advantages doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And Bitcoin was the first.
And at the same time, like, you know, if Dogecoin does blow up that much, that there's actually more people using Dogecoin than Bitcoin, well, maybe we should, you know,
switch over. Yeah, I mean, the one certainty I have is that digital currency is the currency of the future. I'm just
hands down.
And I am backing Bitcoin right now, and I'm not against backing other digital currencies. Yeah. It's just as far as market size, as far as passion, like I find Bitcoin companies to be the more heavy suited. So that's
I agree, and it's got quite a lead too. You know, and you know why I would never build a Doge company at this point when no one else has. Yeah. You know. Yeah. But the other thing about these digital currencies is it's a lot easier to integrate them into an exchange. You know, if you have an exchange that's built well enough, it's easy to add Litecoin and Dogecoin and Barbie.
I think you're gonna start seeing that a little more and more. Actually, the thing about Dogecoin is though that like banks even think it might be a joke, so they're okay with giving them bank accounts. I'm pretty sure.
They're like, dogs can't launder money.
Yeah, they're like this is too cute to do anything bad. Yeah. AML, KYC. It's a dog. I trust it.
So what other industries are you looking at Boost?
Okay, so other than the microtransactions, what we look at are remittances. I think remittances is a huge opportunity. Obviously, for Bitcoin, being able to transcend borders is a huge opportunity. Inflationary economies. So we've been looking at Argentina. We've been looking at companies in India. We've been looking at a lot of places to be able to sort of facilitate, break down barriers where they're already experiencing crazy inflation on their currency. And there are a lot of really interesting things that people are doing in those economies with Bitcoin. And then the other one is more of it's like a marketing effort for Bitcoin. So it's anything that makes Bitcoin easier to use. And so, a bunch of the players in those spaces would be like Glyph is making Bitcoin easier to use. They actually just got taken down from the App Store, but they're going to be releasing a really interesting next generation feature that's going to be huge for Bitcoin. Then we have Vorum, which is going to be sort of the plug-in for online brokerages to be able to buy and sell Bitcoin. We've seen just a huge array of awesome, passionate entrepreneurs who are going to be really taking off in the next little bit. In the most recent batch at Boost, We saw, so Snapcard, I don't know if you guys have heard of Snapcard. I mean, volume's going crazy on that site, and everyone's using it to buy anything online with Bitcoin. And then we have the Coinbase of Mexico, which is called CoinCove.
Very cool.
Yeah, so.
Cool, Adam. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Really
this is
appreciate
fantastic.
It, for sure. For more information about Boost and other topics we talked about on the show today, check out moneyandtech.com.